Nicks and Bruises, we are back. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time. I got the Queen in the building. I got my guy Josh in the building. What's going on? Happy Thanksgiving, belated Thanksgiving. Hope everybody had a good time. We'll start there. Queen, how was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was good. Thanksgiving was good. I was upstate, with family, and you know how you be like, oh, I'm leaving early the next morning. I didn't want. I still, I still was there like into like late Saturday afternoon, but it was good.
Beautiful, Josh.
Same. Just like Queen said, it was great. I thought I was going to be leaving on Saturday, but I wound up coming back on Sunday. So, yeah, but it was a good time nonetheless. Good food as always. And I'm glad it's over. We still got Christmas to look forward to. So, there's that. And yeah, let's do it.
No doubt. Chat, I hope y'all had a great Thanksgiving. Mine was pretty good as well. Had to work the next day, but it was all good. I still had a good time. Um, yeah, Sim's been, on the road. You know what I mean? I feel like I haven't been on a show in a while. I haven't get to talk about any of the games all week. We're gonna do that on Queen's Court, but I'm gonna start just with Miami. I mean, excuse me, I keep saying Miami. The Phoenix game, and get your thoughts on that. That was the last game. Nail biter down to the end. Booker hit a tough shot. Brunson missed a tough shot. But all in all, we had to fight and claw our way back again. And kudos for that. But I feel like we really should have won that game. So I ended up still being disappointed, even though it was exciting, and it was a Knicks type game. But I really felt like, with their two top guns gone. I mean, Bill's been gone all year, but KD gone. It's really Booker that they had to focus on, and they did their best, but it was not good enough. And so, I mean, what was your thoughts on that particular game?
You want to go first, Josh?
I start. Salute to Knicks and Bruce's family. Salute to the chat. Salute to the panel. Well, I can say that the Knicks are, who we thought they were. They're a resilient bunch. They just stay in games. They don't give up. They don't quit. And this past week or so outside the Minnesota game, the Miami game and the Phoenix game, this team just fights and they claw, and they're going to be a tough out no matter what, no matter who they play. So that's just one thing that we constantly seen from this team, and they showed it again. And I just want to say that was one hell of a shot by Devin Booker. I mean, he is one of my favorite players in the NBA, as someone who I want the Knicks to eventually get at a certain point. And that shot is just one of the reasons why. Falling away, going to his right, you know what I mean? Two people on him. And to make that shot with such confidence, it's just amazing. And I thought we kind of slipped up defensively on that. And I'll explain it a little bit later on, or I guess right now I can. I don't know if Tony, you want to.
Nah,
Yes, I just
share your thoughts, because you know what I mean. I want to dissect a few points of the game. So if you saw something, speak on it.
Yeah, only thing I'll say is in regards to that final shot. They got the ball to Devin Booker, right? They sent quickly to him to help to make Devin Booker give the ball up. I think at that point, RJ should have been up much tighter on him instead of allowing him to get the ball back, particularly him scrambling out to his right, being a right-handed player, right-handed shooter, because basically that shot is, even though it was a tough shot, no matter what, it was a tough shot. We allowed him to get the ball back when there was nobody else on the floor to be able to, that you would, I guess, feel confident, or Phoenix would feel confident in to get that ball to be able to take that shot. But they allowed him to get the ball back in a running start, and Randle was kind of caught in no man's land at that point. Still got a decent contest up, but he knocked that shot down. But I thought we could have defended it a little bit better in that case. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Anybody know his stat line on the night? Devin Booker. Anybody know how many threes he hit?
Not sure. I could look it up though.
Because I heard somewhere that was his first three of the night.
Really?
And I was watching in between doing things, so I couldn't verify that by memory. But if it was, that's another telling stat. Um, the rebounding. I mean, that's supposed to be a strength of ours, and this is not the first time that we kind of been out rebounded. Not saying that it can't happen and it shouldn't happen ever, but certain teams who, that's not technically a strength of theirs, which means they came into the game focusing, knowing that that's what we do. Let's counter it, and they did it effectively. I think that's the main thing that really was disturbing for me watching the game all night long. And I'll get right into it. I mean, it begs one of the questions. I mean, we could go back to the game itself, but the problem of length and the lack of length in this team, I really think it showed last night. You know what I mean? So I mean that's another just talking point that I wanted to focus on or get your thoughts on.
Booker was 28 points, 11 assists. Let me look at the shooting efficiency. So 28 and 11. And let's see, that was his only three. He was 1 for 4 from the 3-point line, and he was 10 for 25 from the field.
Wow. I mean, as far as rebounding, particularly to yesterday's game, I think that was the difference in the game. I mean, because when you look at it, they were +4 in second chance points. They took 5 more shots than we did, and that was the 5 offensive rebounds, that they had. And obviously, you got to hit those shots. Randle, and I hear what you're saying overall about our defense, but I don't think it's a concern overall because we're as far as our defensive rebounding, I think we're 11th, right? So you can argue that what's carrying us in terms of our rebounding is our offensive rebounding.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at our rebounding percentage, whether it's defensive rebounding percentage, offensive rebounding percentage, so we're 1 or 2. So I don't think it's an issue overall, but it was an issue last night.
Yes.
Absolutely, it was an issue. In that first quarter, Randle and Mitchell Robinson had 1 rebound apiece. It just can't. It just can't happen.
Well, Randle had 5 for the game, right?
Randle had 5 for the game.
So I mean,
you giving them 2, 3, 4 opportunities at the basket. Your offense can't stop. I mean, this is basic stuff. Your offense can't stop and start until you secure the rebound. And we just weren't able to do that. I thought we came out lackadaisical, other than Brunson, and Quick when he came in. But that starting unit, my goodness, they looked. Randle looked. I don't know if he was disinterested or he was just letting Brunson cook. I don't know what it was, but he looked disinterested. Mitch looked like he was having a tough time. Like, I don't know. That first half was terrible.
And had I had, this is why it was so upsetting to me, like the rebounding last night. Had I had a chance to get on, do my own show or do Sim's show or do your show, like I would have swore this is the game Randle goes off. Now, granted, he had a good third quarter, whatever, but I thought this was the game that he could use his strength, you know what I mean? Use his speed. Like, I thought they had no answer for him. And even if KD was there, I thought that he would be a problem. But with KD gone, I'm like, oh, they have nothing for him. And I thought Robinson would this would be another good test challenge. He's been living up to the challenges all year, so I'm not gonna knock Mitch for last night. You know what I mean? But
right.
The rebounds really stood out. Josh, what's your thoughts, and then anything else about the game that stood out?
No, I think both y'all hit it right on the head. I mean, last night we didn't have our best rebounding game. We did come out very flat compared to other games. And throughout the game, we were able to turn it up and kind of bring it back a little bit. But, against good teams, you can't afford to get off to slow starts like that because, even though the Knicks are really good at coming back and being resilient, it's not ideal. You don't want to keep putting put yourself in that situation. So I agree with both of y'all. And hopefully they can be able to clean it up and play more complete games moving forward.
Sherwin, I can't with you, Sherwin. When it comes to Randall, he just can't be balanced about it. But I think I appreciate it.
And I'm not done, and it's not even gonna be like, oh, bash the whole team and bash the game, because again, it was a fun, entertaining game. It just, you know what I mean, I just really felt like we could have made a statement even with these guys out. Excuse me 1 second.
Yeah, I think, listen, we need everybody. We need everybody every night. And that's just the way this team is built. You know, RJ had 9 points. It's just unacceptable. Like it can't happen. And I get it. People have bad nights. I get it. This wasn't the night to have, to have a bad night. Randall could have cooked in this game. What I feel like with Randall, it's about his energy. Even when he's shooting terrible, if the energy is there, it still helps us. When the energy is not there, my goodness. So that was a game that we could have had,
I mean,
I think it also leads to the point a lot of people always say about Randall, like in regards to his, if he's not getting shots, you know what I mean? Does that bring down his energy naturally? Like, does he need shots to basically have that energy? Does he need that? I mean, I wasn't a big believer in that, but I mean, I think there's a really, really good case to make that argument now, because we've seen when Randall is not that guy that is getting shots, his play starts to follow, not just the lack of the shot making, but everything else just starts to fall down with it. So, is that the case? And what can the Knicks do about it? Is the question.
Josh, I'm with you. Can I just say this real quick? Josh, I agree with you 100%. I did not agree with that assessment. I've heard it. I just did not agree with it. But I've seen it, a few times this year already, particularly last night. Then he started getting the ball, shots started going in, and all of a sudden, he's a different player, Sherwin, with both Brunson and IQ on the court, hogging the ball, as you say. He was still at, so I'm starting to think maybe there's something to it.
Did I lose my train of thought?
Sorry.
I was gonna say I'm starting to agree with you, Queen. In the simple, I mean, you've been very adamant about him taking too many threes, and he needs to get away from the attempts. I mean, if you look at where he had his great stretch, I mean, he was dominating on the inside, and this is a part of his game where, I mean, he don't gotta live there, but even it out, you know what I mean? Mix it up, because there's times where you could dominate there, and it's not like we asking you to play under the rim where we know, that's not your preference. You know what I mean? This is a strength of yours. Use it. That's my last thing on Randall. Shout out to Nixon Nice. He says JB got smoked defensively. Which your thoughts on that?
That's fine. He gives us so much offensively, and he's so good of a player. He does a lot of other winning things. I'm willing to not really care about that.
I think that's just what it's going to be. It's not like like he doesn't try on the defensive end. That's just what it's going to be. So get used to it. That's not even something for me that I even bring up anymore.
Okay, right. So, and he's like #1 in the league in drawing charges. So whatever he doesn't gives us with the one-on-one defense, his ability to draw charges. I mean, that speaks for itself right there. It's not like he's afraid to get in there. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm gonna steal from Sim, even though we didn't win the game. Would that be the coach's decision? Did y'all notice he wasn't on the floor in that defensive play, Brunson?
Yeah.
And it was a offensive substitution. Okay, no issue with that. If that's the case down the stretch of games. Interesting. I mean, and I agree. I think he's short. You know what I mean? It's not, and that's the problem. It's not the effort. He could do defensive taking charge things and all that. So yeah. Um Grimes has been struggling. Um I mean, since he's returned, but before he got hurt. Any concerns? Still too early. We still riding on what he does defensively.
I'm over it, Tony. I'm gonna leave this one to Josh. I'm over it. Tibbs has made his decision.
It
No
is what it
matter
is.
what, Grimes is in that starting lineup. So
I
I'm
mean, I'm not even. Well, all right. Josh, same thing.
I mean, yeah, it is what it is at this point. Like I said, I think how that unit plays together as a collective is what Tibbs really cares about. He always talks about it in the post game press conferences. And I think there's a reason why Grimes is out there, and it's because of him playing that role of being that on-ball defender. Now, people can say Grimes be getting cooked and all this and that. The numbers suggest a little bit different. I think Grimes is doing much better than people give him credit for as far as his on-ball defense. But offensively, I mean, we got to be able to depend on him to knock down those catch and shoots, and he hasn't been doing that a lot lately. So I think that's where a lot of the frustration lies. So hopefully, it can be able to turn itself around. But I understand the frustrations.
Concern or no?
No.
Concerns. Queen.
It is what it is. It is what it is. I don't think the drop off defensively is going to be that great, but it is what it is.
Okay. Concern with Mitchell Robinson and the hacker Robinson. I mean, it's the second time we've seen it now. I think Miami did it too, right? I think it was Miami.
Even on the floor, Miami. I mean, he was in foul trouble. Was he even in the game down the stretch?
Somebody else did it to him.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody else utilized it.
I think it was Miami. No, Miami did implement it. They did put it in there. Yeah.
And any concerns with that? Just
I mean, it's a concern. It's a concern because it's another tool that another coach might have at their disposal. But I think ultimately at the end of the day, Mitch just have to knock his free throws down. Shaquille O'Neal, one of the greatest players of all time, well known for not being a really good free throw shooter. I think he could have been number one scoring of all time if he was able to knock down his free throws. But he hit him when he counted, and I think that's what Mitch is going to have to do. And I think as long as Mitch continues to play and do everything he's been doing, I think that confidence will come. And I think I believe in Mitchell Robinson that he can be able to knock them down when they count. So it's a concern, but not that big of a concern for me until we actually need it. Right now, hasn't come down to it yet.
Listen, the thing about it is we have Hartenstein that we can sub in and out. Mitch free throws has gotten progressively worse. He's down to 37% now. I mean, my
35.
Okay.
35.
Down to 35% now. Yeah. And the last two games, Mitch hasn't been who he has been in the first 6, 7, 8, 9 games. And maybe it's a lot to expect him to play on that level because he was, he was dominant. But if you're not playing on a dominant level and you getting one rebound, I mean, he picked it up in the second half. All right, I'm not going to get on him too much. He picked it up in the second. Mitch is all right. Mitch is all right for now.
Yeah, but see that game. I mean, yesterday. I mean, that is like one in the. He's been dominant on the offensive glass and the defensive glass for the most part, right? Yes. So I think last night was just a, I don't know the term or the correct term.
Aberration.
Yeah.
Third 5 in the third quarter after they talked about it.
It's probably his third bad game.
Yeah, and then the alternative is are you willing to sub him out for Hartenstein? You know what I mean? I mean, I guess in those circumstances, yes, but for the most part, I mean, you're not really. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, my question is, when I say concern, I'm looking at it as a deeper thing. Like it could be a plethora of reasons. Are you concerned? Does Tibbs adjust and modify his coaching uh I'll say his rotation because of this? Like, does he say, "Oh, I got to use Hartenstein during this stretch of minutes now," and or does he ride with him? Are you concerned either way? Like that? That's what I meant with the concern. Because if it really becomes a thing that hurts us, you know what I mean? He's gonna have to adjust at some point, and we know Tibbs is a bit stubborn. He may say, "Yo, he gotta hit him sometime." You know what I mean? That
No,
might be his philosophy.
no, no. He's not gonna. A matter of fact, he did sub.
He did sub, but
Yes,
it's usually when he subs, it's usually what I'm saying is it something that he has to adjust to before they utilize it. You know what I mean? Because by the time he subs, it's usually 2 possessions max that he's getting off the floor.
right.
You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Because what's it after up to 2 minutes, right? Before 2 minutes. So
Before,
it's usually like 2:25 left, 2:15 left. You know what I mean? So he'll make it for 1 or 2 possessions. At what point does it become 3 minutes? He got to sub him out. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't seen teams use it that early. We may not see it until the playoffs. You know what I mean?
right. I mean, I think. Listen, I think Tibbs. We have Hartenstein. Not that he's a great free throw shooter himself, but I think he might be what 50, 60%, something like that. I mean, Tibbs has to sub him out. You know, after
Um,
after the first, once he recognizes that that's the strategy they're using.
that hard fall, Mitch took.
Otherwise, it's a turnover, equivalent to a turnover.
No, I agree. That hard fall that Mitch took. You any concerns with that?
He always falling all over the place.
I mean,
Um,
I don't know if you've seen it or heard it, because I heard it through the TV. I mean, granted, he came back and played the rest of the game, but those are the type of falls and things you feel the next day a lot more than you feel at the time after
Right.
with the adrenaline and anything. And his history. That's another reason why I'm like he might miss tailbone. That's those be bad.
he's always falling like that though. I mean, I've seen a few times this season alone where he fell, and I'm just looking like, dang, Mitch, like, But I mean, I don't know if there's anything you can really. There's no way for you to stop it. I mean, there's no way for you to, you know what I mean? Because then, you tell him to be careful. You know what I mean? Then he takes away from his aggressiveness at times.
That's not what I mean. I mean, like, if they like Mitchell Robinson's out next game.
Right.
No, I get that. I get that.
I'm saying.
There's nothing for us to really do about it. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's nothing. I mean, I'm not really.
Are you confident in Sims? Is that a better question?
Well,
are you confident we could withstand if Mitch has to miss
Yes,
the game?
because we have. I'm not saying we're going to be the same team. There is some drop off, but we have survived Mitch and Mitch. We've patched some things together when Mitch has been out. So yeah, I think we can survive it if we have to.
All right, I'm gonna let Josh go first. I'm gonna go last. I just want to end in a positive note of as far as this game. What was your biggest positive takeaway from the last game? Josh, you might be repeating yourself with how you started the show, but
oh yeah, the resiliency. But also, I guess Randall. I mean, his ability to when he gets some shots down, to be able to come back and score and get involved in the game. I guess that's one positive. But the problem has always been, how do you get to that point in the first place? You know what I mean? You still got to be able to play hard and do some of the other stuff, even when you're not putting the ball in the basket. So I'm just going to go Randall, overall resiliency from the club.
Brunson, no matter what, we can count on him pretty much game in and game out.
man, that shot looked good. That last shot.
No.
Oh man. Um, I guess I gotta go with IQ. You know what I mean? Like he's still being that guy off the bench. Um, not 20 but 18 right there. He has his moments where if I had hair, I'd be pulling it, but at the same time, like I'll say it again, he's my favorite Nick right now. I know Brunson's the safest Nick. That's the jersey I got, but quickly, that's my guy. So I'm gonna definitely go with quickly as far as that. All right, moving on. Um, multiple sources. I mean, Sports Illustrated, New York Post, Daily News, a couple others, Bleacher Report, all talking about the Knicks having interest in Bogdanovich and the Pistons. He's one of the guys that what I mean. I thought we could maneuver for him. It's not going to be that costly, in my opinion. Bleacher Report had a mock trade of Fournier, Deuce,
McBride, yeah.
and their own first round pick that we own, which is restricted. I've been on that restrict, giving them back that pick as well. I mean, there's a couple of reasons why I think that pick is valuable, even though it's their own and even though it's restricted and it may not pan out. But even if it has to be a different pick or whatever the case, I want to get your thoughts on it, and I'll go last, but I'm gonna say I'm for it for sure.
Steph, you muted.
Oh, sorry. He hasn't even played this year.
He has not.
Raptor?
He has not. He's just getting I guess just revving things up.
Yeah.
He's possible to play against us. That might be his first game
Okay.
against us. We played on Thursday, I think, right? We got another back to back coming up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that they're saying that might be his first game. I mean, honestly, I'll go first. I'm for it. I've been talking about it. I've been saying, actually, I want to get your thoughts on the mock trade and if you think that would be enough or not, or and then
Enough.
or what you if you think it oh okay you think it's too much. You think it's too much. I hear you. Go ahead, Queen. Speak your mind.
I mean, I'm not that familiar. I'm looking at his stats. Actually,
I
he's a
mean,
pretty good scorer.
30,
21.6 point, 18 points, 17 points, 20 points his last 4 years.
38 from 3
Yeah.
for the career.
For his career, I have here 39.4.
Okay,
I'm
even better.
looking at basketball reference. But how is he defensively? Does he
Not
fit?
great. I'll be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
he ain't a standout.
So
I'll go ahead.
so there's another guy we have to, make sure we put the right lineups in there with him. I'm not sure he can ever play with Brunson. That was the issue with Fournier, right? Fournier and Brunson. Though he's a better shooter than Fournier, I get it.
Barely.
Um,
Yeah.
I would prefer a more defensive minded. We need shooting too. Like I mean,
How tall is he, Queen?
kill the Knicks if the Knicks do it, but I would hold for somebody else.
Josh, your thoughts.
So he's 6'7".
Let me see what the chat is saying too.
6'7".
I mean, we need more shooting, but we got a guy named Fournier who is a shooter who we haven't been using. So we're literally trading Evan Fournier and one of our best young defensive guys who can play on the ball, and a first round pick for this guy. I mean, who's been hurt. I mean, I just don't understand.
Let's put the context on that first round pick too.
Yeah, it's the first pick we're giving back to him, but I don't understand the need. Okay, basically you're swapping out. I mean, 2 non-rotation guys for a guy to come in the rotation, right? And you're giving up a first round pick. But literally one of the guys that you're swapping out can basically play the same game. 3-point shooting, not that good of a defender. Like what's the just to have him for an extra year. I mean, I don't think
I'd actually argue he's a better defender than Fournier, with more size and a better playmaker than Fournier.
really.
Yeah,
Um, 3 assists last year. Well, he averaged 2.6 assists, but he does get to the line, which is part of our game. He got to the line 5 times a game last year. That's how we play. Shot 88% from the field.
Free throw line.
From the free throw line. Yes, you're right.
I was like, what?
48% from the field last year, 49 basically. I mean, listen, if the Knicks pull the trigger on it, I'm not screaming. RJ's a better defender now, so maybe it won't be, but he have to be coming off the bench though.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, he's gonna be a rotation.
100%. But I think it gives you more size to spell Randle at the 4. With even if he happens to, I mean, it'd be rare, but even if he happens to get those rare minutes, I mean, regardless, he's a better 3-point shooter than Randle. You know what I mean? So whatever minutes he gets, at the 4 with more size than anybody else on the team, pretty much.
How does he have more size than Fournier? Both of them are the same height.
I mean, look at these. Yes, girth.
But look at his rebounding though, 3.6. Like this is the same discussion we had when we switched out DiVincenzo for Obi Toppin. Yeah, we're shorter, but it's not hurting us as far as our rebounding is concerned. Same thing. We're gonna have somebody taller playing behind Randle, but he's averaging 3.8 rebounds per game.
So you guys' argument is he would be a bigger Fournier and potentially not play.
No, I think if they traded for him, he would be
right. He's going to play, but I just don't see the purpose of trading him when you got a guy in Fournier who is 6'7", who can give you the 3-point shooting already, and the reason why he's not playing is because of lack of defense. I'm not sold on Bojan Bogdanovich being that much of a better defender than Evan Fournier, or enough of a better defender and 3-point shooter that I'm willing to make that move and give up, a Deuce McBride who we got waiting, that's not really getting playing time anyway, and a first-round pick. I just don't see the purpose. I don't think it's worth it, in my opinion. I don't think it adds to the team, in my opinion.
I mean, I think it's so you don't think it's so, because you didn't mention the pick this time, and my thoughts on the pick is more valuable actually to Detroit than it is to us. Is actually losing value with us, but the fact that it's owed to us restricts them from what they can do as far as making a trade,
right?
Until that trade conveys. So if it gets, if it goes back to them now, not only can they use it themselves no matter what, but they could trade it again if need be.
They got better players over there. I think that I would like. What's up with
listen?
Do it. What's up? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
what's up with, I would even we're not for stat. I guess we feel like we have enough young players, but James Wiseman ain't even playing over there. Like he could sit on our bench.
Yeah, I'll be for that one, and you don't have to give up as much.
Well, let me ask you that hypothetically, just while we're here, what would you be willing to move? Like where would your thoughts be where you wouldn't have a problem with it? Whether it be their own first, and the same trade for Wiseman.
Wiseman has well, I don't know. I want to say he has upside, but both Golden State and Detroit, he's sitting on the bench, and he's sitting on the bench in Detroit, who's a bottom feeder. So that there is some concerns there.
And I've heard that from people who weren't necessarily like Warrior fans or Pistons fans. Like the analysts have been really, and not getting down on James, but really just questioning like why. Like is like, you know what I mean? It's got to be something for both situations. Like, because you would think right now, the Warriors could use them, right? Just hypothetically, if he never been on the Warriors and the Warriors is like, oh, we're gonna trade for him. You be like, oh, that's a good move for them. You know what I mean? Like, so I
It
mean,
reminds me of the Cam Reddish situation a little bit. Cam Reddish, that whole thing essentially would be the same kind of. You got a guy who played, who's really good talent, the potential, all that stuff, but can't really find himself a place on the floor with two teams. And the Knicks took a shot, you know what I mean, and it didn't work out. So it would kind of be the same thing. But I would be more for that. If you're going to take a chance on somebody, then taking a chance for 30-something-year-old Bogdanovich. And I think with the Wiseman trade, you wouldn't even have to give up Fournier because I don't know how much Wiseman's making, but you can just throw Deuce in there and that first round pick and then do it that way. Kind of similar to what we did with Kevin Knox in the Reddish trade. Kind of do it that way.
Nah, I hear you, but I wouldn't. As much as I liked Cam Reddish, I think I've learned my lesson in the sense of I'm not really dealing with potential right now. If it's a draft pick that we drafted, you know what I mean, I'm gonna give him all the time in the world.
Right.
But to make a move for like now, I'm not expecting Wiseman to play. You know what I mean? Like I'm not you know what I mean? I'm expecting him to sit and you know what I mean, maybe get an opportunity or be in the G League or whatever the case. Bogdanovic is proven, playoff proven, vet. You know what I mean? I'm not concerned with his age because of his game. And my last little tidbit on him is he has the ties to Donovan Mitchell. I mean, I'm not the biggest Donovan Mitchell. Not that I'm not the biggest fan. I'm not the biggest fan of his pairing with Brunson per se. But for all those who are, they have a history. You know what I mean? They played many of years in Utah together, playoff years together. I mean, there's that. Maybe
And to people in the chat, like I'm not advocating for James Wiseman. It was just somebody, that the Knicks can potentially take a flyer on. I'm not advocating for it. I mean, I just don't. He asked me for someone that was better than Bogdanovich. I would probably go Wiseman in that case because
Wiseman, Stewart, Ivy.
Yeah. Players like that. Bogdanovich to me, if you're gonna get rid of Fournier, it kind of defeats the purpose. We got a guy in Fournier who's the same size, can shoot the basketball, not that good defensively, can bring him off screens. Already seen the connection with Randle, like that. They play together. They got chemistry on the floor, but we're just not using them, right? So I just don't understand that particular trade. But it's not like I'm gonna like be all mad about it. You know what I mean? It's cool. It is what it is.
Like my guy Paris said, he's a clutch bucket guy. At that, I mean, I've been bless you. I've been a fan of his for years, but it's tough for me to put my neck out. You know what I mean? Because I admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong about Fournier. I was wrong about Kemba Walker, and I stand on. I admit when I was wrong. You know what I mean? But so I just gotta go on record. You know what I mean? Because certain people would like to, throw that in my face. I mean, we spoke about it a couple times already, but thoughts on DeRozan? Better fit, but or same concerns. I think it would cost a little bit more, but
for sure.
That's the other thing. The teams that are in competition allegedly for Bogdanovic is the Lakers, Phoenix, I forget the other team, but the Mavs, I believe. So all teams that are probably, I mean, definitely closer to considered contenders, but also teams that don't have near the same, like if it became a bidding war, I don't think it would be like the typical, oh, we gave up too much competing against those guys, because I think all of their picks that are available are like 2030, 2028 might be the closest.
I don't even think the Lakers have any picks that they could be able to move. They're so pick depleted.
I
and
think they have.
Phoenix
I think they have
and
one.
Dallas. Like I don't know what the world
No,
is.
I'm pretty sure the Lakers have one. I don't know. I think Phoenix got like a multiple of second round picks. I think because I remember
No,
they kept every time they traded a first, they got like 2 seconds. You know what I mean?
oh
So
boy,
I think they got like some crazy number of second round picks. That's gonna help them. I mean, but yeah, I
Tony
think we should get
on
it done.
DeRozan though. On
Yeah,
DeRozan, I'm for it now. I used to not be for it because I didn't like to fit next to RJ, but with RJ's improvement in the catch and shoot, right? With his improvement in that, I just think that now you can bring in a guy who can get to the mid range, who can pull up, who's a mid range demon. I just think that helps. That'll help us out offensively tremendously. I think that raises our ceiling, right? Um, I like it. I like it if the Knicks are able to pull it off. If we're, we're going to use Fournier's money. You got to throw another contract in there. Someone preferably not within the big four that you mentioned. I think we can get it done. And a pick or so, a couple picks, I'm all for it. I think the fit will be great.
If we're banking on RJ continuing, he's already fallen off a little bit over the last 3 games. But I would agree with you because I would be against it for the same reason, to fit. But if RJ is the player or the shooter that he's been these first few games, if this is who he's going to be, then yeah, I think it's because it's still him and Mitch in that lineup who, you
Right.
know,
he
can't really stretch it, stretch it that much. And then we got RJ coming down. RJ's 36.4%. I don't know the difference between the catch and shoots and whatever over the past 3 games, but his
Mm.
3-point shooting is down to 36.4. His overall shooting is down to 36.8 or something like that. So I don't know if we can bank
Right.
on RJ, but if we could, then that you're right. It would change things as far as
I,
if DeRozan is, and DeRozan is a bucket, and he
that
Oh yeah.
does raise our ceiling because he knows how to play. I feel like the Knicks, other than Brunson, who can we count on game in and game out?
Queen. That's why I don't care. I don't think it matters about RJ, to be honest.
Mm.
Like Josh, I'm not. I mean, I think you've pointed out his lack of 3-point shooting. Not that he is a bad one, but he doesn't shoot them.
Right.
But I mean, there's an argument to be made that it don't matter, like especially if he's starting. Because my initial argument, I brought this up, I think last year, but my initial argument was like have him come off the bench or have him compete, make RJ compete for the spot. You know what I mean? Because RJ's never really had that guy to challenge his position. So that was my initial argument. But I don't have a problem starting him next to RJ, and I'm not concerned with his 3-point attempts because one, when he shoots them well. Two, um, if he's turning down the three, it's almost a guarantee too. You know what I mean? So every like if one of my concerns is Grimes' lack of aggression, right? We're not gonna have to worry about that.
Yeah.
So all those shots that Grimes I think turns down, like you could count those for two points out of every, you know what I mean? Every 2 tries, that's 2 points. You know what I mean? So I think it's
Yeah, yeah.
gonna make
It's
up.
going to be an upgrade. It's going to be an
And
upgrade no
His
matter what if
passing
you
and,
is
bring in DeRozan.
underrated.
and one of the things you keep harping on is that secondary or ball handler. Not only has he been that throughout his career, but he's also been the primary ball handler. In you know what I mean, for a couple years in San Antonio. So
Yeah, that's why I want him, Tony. That's you said
like
every reason why I want him. But to piggyback off Queen's point, she said she's not sure about whether RJ's is more catch and shoot via pull up. For the most part, RJ's 3-point attempts are in the catch and shoot because he's not breaking this man down off the dribble, taking a couple
True,
dribbles and shooting a
true,
three.
true,
It's going to
true.
come out to him on a swing, catch and shoot, and that's why I think that if he's able to do that, it'll work. But sounds to me,
right.
Queen, you're not sure about it yet with RJ. I'm
But
not
you know what?
either, but I'm also giving him his props on it too that he's been
Right,
improving in that
right.
regard.
But you know what? Watching his team, I'm like, we need something else. And maybe we just have to deal with a little cramped offense if we get DeMar DeRozan because I just feel like we need more right now. I just feel like unless everybody plays lights out, what's the ceiling on this team? What's the ceiling on this season? You know what I mean?
Right.
I
DeRozan
mean,
changes that. And we don't underestimate his playmaking ability.
Oh yeah,
yes,
100%,
yes.
100%. Yeah, I'm for it. I'm for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, let's stay here briefly. What do you think the asking price would be, and what are you okay with?
If the Bulls are breaking it down, they're gonna want picks, right? So I'm comfortable giving 2 first-round picks, and
Oof.
then we can make some salary
How
matching.
many years he got left?
This
This is
one.
last year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he'll be like a rental. He'll be a rental player.
I
He's a
believe this
rental.
is last year.
I don't know. He got signed the same. Oh no, he got the same kind of contract Fournier got. So yeah, he would be. That would be his last year. Wow, that changes things. um, I don't know.
Even though
Have
if it's a team option, I think we pick it up.
If it's a team option, yeah, for sure.
Let me take a look.
And then that would be 2 years. So then yeah, that would work. I would be willing to give up Grimes.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, no doubt.
2 picks though. You okay with?
Let me see how many years he got.
DeMar DeRozan.
And
I
how
think
old is he? See,
Yeah,
players
34.
players are
he's 34, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's another one. Like he been transitioned from super athletic. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he's in vet mode. Like
Right.
you know what I mean? Pick
Yeah.
you apart, find my spot. I'm money from there. You know what I mean? Like
No, he's straight up rental. He don't have no option. He's straight
no
up
option
rental.
at all.
Mm-mm. He's straight up.
And this is the main reason why I would love
Forget about
DeRozan.
those picks.
Right.
So two for
Forget about those picks. Yeah.
is it two? If it's 2 of our own, are we doing that?
Not
Nah,
two.
forget about the picks. Forget about the picks.
Not
Yeah,
2 at all.
yeah. No, no.
Not
Oh,
two.
you said
He's a rental. This is his last
yeah, all right. Last year.
Yeah.
So what? Is it one of our own? Or
I mean,
is it
yeah.
2
In that case, yeah.
or is it 2 protected?
If they would
No,
take
I will give up one of our own. I will give up one of our own.
over the 2 protected, yeah, I don't want to give up 2. Depends on the protections though. Like if some of those protections you think won't convey like a
And what does he make?
28.
So we would need Fournier, Grimes, and more.
Yeah, Fournier, Grimes, McBride.
No, I mean that's still not enough.
Grimes is making, what is it, 5?
I don't think he makes 5 this year. And I know McBride don't make more than 2.
yeah.
Oh, we got that
Salary.
trade exception though. We good. We got that trade
You have a
exception.
trade exception for
Yeah,
who?
Obi.
Oh, okay.
Because we didn't take no salary back.
Yeah, Grimes is at 4. Oh no, you're right. 2.5 almost. Yeah, I would do Grimes, Fournier, and then probably throw that trade exception in there and a pick to get the deal done. I would do that because I think that come playoff time we're gonna need that. We're gonna need that ball handling. So I'm all for it.
My bad. I didn't finish my train of thought. He said he always wanted to be a Knick, and he thought he was gonna be a Knick.
Who said that? DeRozan?
DeRozan.
When like last week? Because I don't hear nothing he said 2 years ago.
I mean, he was referencing before he signed with the Bulls.
Oh, okay.
But he said it while he was a Bull. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if it was like last week but it was within a year. I'm gonna say that on one of these podcasts, maybe JJ Redick, maybe one of them joints. So I mean, the fact that you know what I mean, you gotta know, you gotta be built to play here. You know what I mean? And I'm sure he's again, he's been around the league enough to know what it is to play, to be a Knick, to play in the Garden. You know what I mean? Play for the Knicks, and like to say that publicly. Most people aren't gonna say that publicly, and most people privately are scared to play here. Like I've heard it from too many different um former players when they talk about the Knicks, and
Right.
you got to be built. I mean, you could tell from being a fan, but to know that's the perception
Right.
that you really got to be built a certain way to play here.
I mean, that doesn't sway me as much as his playoff experience when he was with Toronto.
I mean,
That's a plus for me more than whether or not he's built for, because we're not going to know. I don't anticipate him being shook by the crowd if they, like. But let me ask you guys a question. DeMar's 34, and this is for all players in their mid 30s. Are the Knicks at a place in their run to become championship contenders? Are we that close to give up young players for 34-year-olds when I don't know if the Knicks are 1 or 2 years away?
It's a good question.
Can I answer it with the question?
Sure.
I mean, the way I would look at it, the way that I would look at it is the young player or two that I'm giving up. Do I feel like, how close do I feel like he is from reaching or becoming a remnant of who I think he's going to become? And when it's all said and done, do I feel like these two young players or this young player is going to be a better product than this 34-year-old currently? You know what I mean? I won't even put him against the prime 34-year-old. I'll put him against the current 34-year-old. Does this young guy have the potential to be better than he is currently? Because you open my mind to this, because you say it all the time. Sometimes you hold on to players too long. you know,
Right. I
you know
agree
what I
with
mean?
you, Tone, but I guess I'm thinking about as opposed to putting them in a trade for a younger vet,
I mean,
opposed to putting them in a trade for somebody that's 28 or 29 years old, where you can get
I
more
I,
in more
I
years.
think I think they both have the equal value. They're just not the same value. And I say that because, number one, the contract of the 34-year-old is going to be a much larger contract. So, and it's probably already going to be less years, right? Let's say we re-sign DeRozan, right? Considering he's going to be a free agent. I doubt we're signing him for 3 guaranteed. So if it may be 2 plus 1, it may be 1 plus 1. Once he becomes tradable, I think that value is he holds the same type of value as a young contract, because the young contract is not going to bring you back a big one. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have to combine the young guys. You're going to have to combine the picks. We see it every year. Contenders are going to be looking for, I mean, not saying that's us, but they're going to be looking for DeRozans. They're going to be looking for Bogdanoviches. They're going to be looking for all these guys to shore up their team by the time the trade deadline comes, and
But are we where are we? Like, where are we in the championship? Like, are we one of those teams?
Right.
I don't know. I
I
was
think
just curious. I don't know the answer myself. I was just
no,
curious.
I think it's a great question. Go ahead, Tony. I'm sorry. I go after you.
I mean, where are we if we don't do the trade? Because it's the same question, right? If we don't do the trade, so again, I guess the counter would be, what are the value of these young guys?
I'm not saying not to give them up, Tone.
No,
I'm saying, are we that close to give them up for a 34-year-old where you're only going to get like 2 or 3 years out of them? That's the That's the question. Not giving them up. Period.
I think
So,
the
the
go ahead, Tony.
34-year-old, how long do you think the window is? I mean, if we're
Not
looking
long.
at DeRozan as clearly a rental, and with no intent
So
of,
even if we sign him, how many years did he have in his career? Probably like 2-3 years, right?
but that would be the window for this, you know what I mean, for this group.
That's my
And
question, Tony.
does he
Are
does
we in a 2 or 3 year window, even if we sign?
to me, I feel like you always are. If you're not a bottom feeder, I feel like you always in that. I mean, granted, Miami didn't win, but I feel like they're the blueprint for what you could do. That doesn't mean perennial, unless that's what you're saying. Perennial, like to me, perennial. We're a long step from. You know what I mean? I'm looking at it, and I know Josh, you're gonna say something funny about it probably tomorrow or whatever. But I'm looking at it like, can we get a chance to win this year? You know what I mean? Can we get a chance? Like
Mhm.
that's
So you're
and
not even looking long term. You all
I
right? So
mean,
let's trade for
I
LeBron.
mean, it's
If
not
we're
that
just talking about this year,
it's not that I'm not looking long term. I am looking long term, but before you could look at long term, you gotta look at right now. So are we good enough to make a run? Once you could do that, you could surprise anybody. You know what I mean? Or you could
Yeah,
get that experience during that run to be like, all right, I know what I need definitively to get to the next level. You know what I mean? Like you can't. That sound like Tim. You can't skip steps. You know?
I don't. So Tony, I mean, I just disagree with you on that point. I think I'm not looking for the Knicks to get to, what I'm saying? Everyone always has this thing about last year. We were 2 games away from the conference finals. We were right there. We were right there. But no one, even coming into the season, if the Knicks would have made the conference finals last year, thought they were going to get back. Right. And I think that is an issue within itself. I think being a perennial contender and being someone that's going to compete for the Eastern Conference is important. And that's the level that the Knicks need to be at. That's the next step.
To me, perennial contender means nothing, to be honest,
For them
because
to get back next year. And I
no
just
number.
don't think.
Oh, you breaking up?
you
I thought
breaking
you
up,
was
Josh.
done. But
Then that was it. That was it. I saw myself break up. Go ahead.
to me, perennial contender means nothing for the simple fact that who's been a dynasty? What dynasty have we? You know what I
No, no,
mean?
no, no,
Have we
no.
seen?
Tony,
That,
Tony,
that,
no, 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 no. Dynasty is about winning
I
championships. I said
I know
contending.
I know that, but you think being a contender? I'll say this. This is, please use the context of what I'm saying.
Go,
You think being the Boston Celtics fan right now, and I'm not saying looking at what you have in the team this year, but what they've gone through over the past however many years, where they've been a perennial contender, you think they feel any better about that stretch than we do?
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Continue,
100%.
continue,
Absolutely.
continuing to
100%.
grow.
Absolutely. Because the
I think
disappointment
100%.
is disappointment is we have a team that's falling short. We have a championship contending team that's falling
Right.
short. Very
Right.
different than the Knicks, where I'm looking at this team and I'm like,
I'm
we don't
looking at,
have it.
I mean, I'm not looking at a finished product. I'm looking at continuous growth, which we haven't seen in I don't know how long. So that's what I'm talking about. What I'm appreciating, as opposed to I mean, hindsight. But the '90s, where we were a perennial contender. Now,
Tony,
granted,
but just because
I miss those times. I do, but the name of the channel is based off of from there to,
Tony,
you know what I mean.
but I think
And
too
we've never.
oftentimes you too oftentimes you come across as if we don't appreciate the growth of the team. I think that's two totally different things. I definitely appreciate what we got going on now, but also at the same time, I'm acknowledging that they have another level that they need to get to. It's not that we're not appreciating it. And I think too often you put both of those things together when I think they should be separated.
But I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me. Like I'm not saying you don't appreciate it. I'm telling you why I feel the way I feel, because I remember being a contending team and getting to the finals. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is our year. You know what I mean?
And you would prefer being where the Knicks are than being there? You prefer where the Knicks are right now to where the Knicks were in the 90s having a shot?
No. I'm not saying prefer. What I'm saying is this is the first time that I've seen a team kind of get built, kind of grow. You know what I mean? Go through, get to the, you know what I mean? Get to the play. I appreciate this. Get to the playoffs. Know that I said it then, we overachieved, but it, you know what I mean? It was a stepping stone. Next year, we didn't make it to the playoffs. It was a tough year. But last year, you know what I mean? Get back. We look better. We get further. Like, to me, I'm comparing.
You're appreciating the grind.
I'm appreciating what we're going through right now. I should have took Boston away.
But that wasn't the initial question, Tony. You took it somewhere totally. You took it somewhere totally different.
Right.
That wasn't you.
You're right. I should. Because what I was trying to say is they're going through some pain too. Granted, things look good for them like today, but I knew the pain they was going through because I remember it. That's all I was saying. I remember it. Being a contender and feel like I know that pain that they've been going through. Now, granted,
so basically, you don't want expectations. You don't want high expectations for the team. Then that's what I'm trying to. I think I'm understanding. You don't want those high expectations because if the Knicks get there and they can't somehow get there or overcome those high expectations, then it's going to be more pain than if right now if they don't have those expectations and they're working towards them.
I want us to earn it. I want us to earn it, and that's what
why are we trading for DeRozan? Just sit with this team and let this team incubate. I mean, you got it.
To be honest, I'm not opposed to that. I really just you know what I mean. Like, I try to look at a bunch of different angles because I know it could go a bunch of different ways. Honestly, this growth cycle thing that I am appreciating, I know that could change tomorrow completely. You know what I mean? Like. And then it you know what I mean? Then I gotta appreciate that. But I'm living in the moment.
Team, if we make no changes, do you think this team can develop into a championship contending team over the next few years?
Don't say it, Tony. I already know what you're gonna say. Don't say it.
I know you think I was like we could. Do I think we
with
will?
No changes now.
Yes or no, Tony? Come on, man. Come on.
Are you giving me an infinite window, infinite time
over the next few years? 3 years.
3 years.
I give you 18 years. Do you think this team can develop into a championship team over the next 18 years? You can have as large a window as you like.
with that one trade? No, I think
no. Thank you.
No. But I don't think and again, I've been on record saying this too. I don't think it has to be the definitive top 10 player in the league, top 15 player in the league.
Tony, come on.
I just don't.
Did you see the game last night?
Yeah. I mean, if we talk,
okay, maybe
let me say this though. Or let me ask you this. Because I like Booker is a guy I watched the game last night. I'm like, yo, he would be perfect here. Right? I would prefer him over Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing with him is that's a waiting game. You know what I mean? Like, you got to see how things pan out for him in the current situation, right? Would you play that waiting game for somebody who for a non-guarantee, but you know,
I'm not saying about I'm not for playing the waiting game. I still think the Knicks should incrementally improve their team if they can. But my point is, this rendition of our team is not it.
We're not a finished product though.
Huh?
I agree, we're not a finished product. I don't think it has to be.
It can stay together for the next 29 years. In my opinion, this team does not have a championship. This is not Toronto. This is not Orlando, or maybe, where you feel like, wow, let them stay together over a few years. We might have something. I don't feel that. With this team. I'm not saying we don't have good players. That's not what I'm saying. I don't think if we just stay pat, we're gonna grow into that.
But nobody stays pat. That's my point. Like, it's always like That's what I'm saying. We're not a finished product. I don't think it has to be
Okay. Oh, let
a
me
huge.
rephrase it.
And
We
I
need
don't.
more than around the edges
I don't
moves
even
to be
think.
a championship contender.
I don't even think Orlando, as good as they are, I don't think they're gonna be together a bunch of years. Like
And
they may do the right thing, but they're gonna do some things that you know what I mean that the people gonna
so,
question. Go
Tony,
ahead.
can I just say something? I know Queen got to get out of here before for Queen's Court is quarter after. I do want to just say one quick thing in regards to the waiting game. When you say waiting game, I think it's important to add the context that waiting game is not necessarily waiting for somebody to become a free agent. Over 90% of the league is over the salary cap, right? So most teams cannot sign players outright as far as free agency. The waiting game, that term waiting game comes in as far as maybe a player wants out of their certain situation, so a trade has to get made. Teams are not playing the whole wait till free agency game anymore. That
I
game
was I
has
wasn't
long.
refer I wasn't
I know, I
referring
know, I
to.
know. I was just adding context so everyone understands about the waiting game. Waiting game is not waiting until someone can opt out, become a free agent. Nobody's really doing that anymore. And if so, it's more of a signing trade kind of thing as opposed to signing a player outright. So the moral of the story is you're gonna have to give up something in order to get better. You know what I'm
No,
saying? You're gonna have to give up something.
no,
That's what
no,
I'm
no doubt about
trying
it.
to say. Yeah.
No doubt about it. Um, yeah, Tone. I mean, we've seen, like Orlando can dream, OKC can dream, but we've seen enough of our players that we can move more out of the dream and into more of the reality because we've seen RJ for 5 years. We've seen Quick for 4. We've seen, and I'm not saying they're at their ceiling. I'm
Mhm.
just saying we've seen, and we've seen Randall for 9, maybe 5
I'm
with us, 4 with us.
I'm not opposed to moving anybody on the team. Let's be clear about that. But I just feel like even whether it's DeRozan, whether it's Bogdanovich, whether it's a small move now, I think that piece can still be a piece that's moved later. You know what I mean? Or maybe he replaces one of the RJ or Randall or whoever gets moved. So to me, small moves don't hurt as long as it makes us a better team. So you know what I mean? I'm trying to just figure out,
I
and I don't want to get into a
small move
bidding war
too.
too.
I've
So
been on record
if
about that. It's
if we
just
could
what
do
the
that,
moves are.
if we could do something before December 19th, where or December 15th, when you know what I mean, some of the free agent signings become available. You know what I mean? Because that opens up the market a little bit for people being available to get moved. Maybe that helps us. Maybe that's somebody we get. But all right, let's get out of here. We got what 14 minutes to Queen's Court. Appreciate y'all guys for joining me. Shout out to the chat as always. Your blackest time. See y'all over
Hold
at
on, Tony. Wait,
yeah,
before you go,
I got you.
salute to Jay Boogie, and also Angel from Philly. I know they had a really tough
Yes.
Thanksgiving
Yes.
holiday with they lost some close family members. So just letting you guys know, the Knicks family, MBK family, Knicks and Bruises family, Queens Court, Dope
Yep.
Soul. We all support you. We love you, and
Absolutely.
hopefully we can just try to comfort you during this tough time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, appreciate you and yeah, shout out to y'all. Prayers, thoughts and prayers. And you got the number, man. Hit me up if you need to anything.